What's going on, Cover Killer Nation? Of course, Cover Killer is here. It's time for another album review from the year 2010. I was able to go on quite the haul last night. I was able to get quite a number of things, especially things that were relatively obscure. So there will be, hopefully, a couple more coming out of the crop that I was able to pick up. Some that I like, hopefully some that I don't. That way, those of you can see me rage who enjoy it. However, it's time to talk about one that I particularly enjoyed a lot. And this is from a band that is French. They used to be a black metal band. However, they've kind of made a transition slightly into a more avant-garde, more post-rock type of a sound, or a post-metal sound, whatever you really would want to call it. And that is the band Alcest. Now, their 2010 album is titled ECAILLES de Lune. Now, I am not French, so if I have butchered this, please correct me on my speaking, either in a video comment or just badger me in a text comment. I've become very used to it. I'm American. I did take a couple years of French class, however, that which I remembered is, well, gone. But at any rate, this is a 6-track affair, clocks in at 41 minutes and 47 seconds long. It's a very awesome release because it's able to combine two particular elements of their particular sound. As I said, they used to be more of a traditional black metal band, and then they sort of took this turn into a more avant-garde and more post-metal type sound, and they're able to combine that on this album a little bit. Kind of like my last album review where I reviewed Triptykon. The difference is that, actually the similarity, should I say, is that like Triptykon, there is one side that really seems to win out a little bit more, and that happens to be the newer Alcest. It's the side that's a little bit more avant-garde, a little bit more post-rock, that really excels on the clean, beautiful vocals, the flowing melodies, the just wonderful soundscapes that really exist within this particular album. Now, the album starts off with two very lengthy tracks. In fact, they're both nearly 10 minutes in length. ECAILLES de Lune, which is, of course, the title track. There's part 1 is track number 1, and part 2 is track number 2. Now, part number 1 has that newer sound to it, the more avant-garde, the more clean, the more beautiful sound. That still has a little bit more of an aggressive side to it, however, you notice more clean vocals. Whereas the second part is a lot more aggressive, a lot more traditional black metal. If I were to really put a tag on this as far as bands are concerned, think of Modeling of the Well and Agalloch kind of combining and having themselves a little bit of a love child, perhaps with a tad bit of the folk stylings of Drudka within. Probably the three best bands that I could really combine to accurately sort of produce a little bit of a side of Alcest that you hear during ECAILLES de Lune, during the first two tracks on the album. If I were to say anything about the other tracks that really maintain that post-metal type sound, I'd really have to combine bands such as Alcest and Sigaros. Now, track number 3 is Procès des Luminaires. Another very good track. This is actually very hooky. It has a really addicting last couple of minutes to it. Very awesome track, something that I definitely recommend. Abysses is track number 4. This is a short little introduction into Solar Song, which is track number 5. And this all culminates with Sur le champ couleur de fer. Now, if you notice, I'm only about maybe 4 minutes into this video, and I'm already talking about the last track. That's because this track is going to take up maybe a minute of my time, particularly because it is fantastic. This is an excellent track, combines both romantic and beautiful male vocals along with feminine vocals with a very slow, a very dreamy style of song. 8 minutes, 18 seconds long. It does have a little bit of a length to it, but this is a track that definitely ends the album on a very high note. At the same time, it's something that really is a chill out, a cool down. It's fantastic. It's a very beautiful, beautiful song. Now, a lot of you, actually I've had a couple of you recommend Alcest's previous album from 2007, I believe. I will get to that. Definitely stay tuned for that. Since this album came out, I definitely want to listen to this band over and over again. However, there's just other stuff that I need to listen to. But I will say that ECAILLES de Lune is quite the fitting follow-up to that particular release. Because not only does it mold the two styles together, it progresses and enhances their sound in a continuous fashion. This is a band that is continuing to grow and really morph. Some fans may say that there's not really too much of a change between the last album, Souvenirs de l'Entremonde, and this particular album. However, I have to disagree. the fact that they're willing to really expand that a little more and really combine the sound with a little bit more efficiency, really, I guess you could say, imagine it as a rope bridge. And there's one side, which was their first album, that's being met sort of at the halfway point, and then the next album goes the other way to the other halfway point. This is the album that kind of meets them halfway. And I like that. I like the fact that they tied that together because I'm a big fan of both eras of material, and I'm, of course, a huge fan of this album. 2010 just got a little bit more difficult for me, guys. ECAILLES de Lune by Alcest. Great album. Great album. Definitely check it out.